but she's actually really strong on B, specifically on pistols here, specifically for doing A tanks and wall executes, and I think that is where her highest value is, and we'll be interested now to see how FABRIKEN want to operate this without the Sage in their hands.
And that's what I'm a bit worried about too. I think when you see FABRIKEN do well with this lineup, and they have had some pretty good results, you kind of feel, yeah, okay, like, you don't tend to notice it, but when they start losing, you really notice that they don't have the Sage, and that could be a problem. But the plant has gone in fairly easily. It seems that RATVI just let it happen. Now the retake is on, but look how many people are coming from A mid.
Theo. It's going to be the one to finding contact first. Late ticks for one as well. They got a bit of a crossfire set up here now. The player looking at his meta, if he can make his way over towards short, he will have a great angle on the last two guys. He finds Anton, and now the only player alive is the Jet player of Thayan. He's got all the work in the world to do. It's not going to be enough. It's going to be the three members still alive here. And notice, by the way, Ryan, that it was RATVI that hard stacked the gamble, stacked 4 players towards B. Didn't quite work out for them. They gave up A fairly quickly there. It was just the Cypher player of Python. I'm already forgetting what his name is because it doesn't show up on the game for whatever reason. But at least we get to see what the round summary is there. So you can see that FABRIKEN do pick up that early round off the back of what was basically an empty A site.
Let's start this party.
Ray's Ziphad certainly wants to do that. He has been one of the heaviest fraggers, not only in this tournament, but across the scene in general. I think the only one that has a better KD than him in this tournament so far is actually Xiao from Party Parrots. So he's not really leading the line today as of yet, but that would be one hell of a final if we see these two teams, both of which favorites to win their semis, to say the least. It's a good start for FABRIKEN to try and make that happen. And this aggressive play is being hampered a little bit, but the guns are available for FABRIKEN, so you can imagine they're going to go in here, no fear.
The thing is, though, RATVI have force-bought into this round. They've all bought to 0, basically, except for our Cypher solo, who's not actually solo anymore. He's being joined by a couple of teammates in just a second. Anton's making his way over, and as it's happening now, that FABRIKEN look like they want to cancel this particular push, so it's not fully safe. They do have an opening pick onto some other Reyna player. There are stingers being purchased here. There's a Marshal in the hands of Thayan, the Jet player as well. He'll be looking over from Heaven. There's the Al drone is going to be able to spot him. Do we still want to push this on FABRIKEN? Thinking about it, they've been slowed, and they are not going to respect it at all. It is going to be the smoke executes now and the pass plant.
Damage is still done. Ziphad picks up a second. Got first blood in this round and is leading the tournament first bloods too, actually, if you want another start. Quite a must start at spike.gg, but right now it's still a bloodbath. FABRIKEN are obviously clearly winning, and it is just going to be the nameless Pitrin on this Cypher. Coming away from CT, does get the sneaky kill onto Shadow, but they know where he is, and he's going to back out. Takes the Stinger, and that's all he can really take for himself.
On a 1 HP nonetheless as well. And that's the unfortunate thing. They'll be saving for sure into the next round. RATVI will be ecoing pretty hard. Again, their players have no money. 4 of them bought down to 0. And they just got the Stinger to work with. Very risky here. You don't see a lot of teams go for this. And, you know, they don't have the armor to make it work either. You're playing a Marshal versus teams that are buying full armor. Unless you're hitting those headshots, not really seeing the high value there. Now, off the back of these purchases, even delivering the Stinger over to Anton, you can probably assume that this round is going to go the way of FABRIKEN again, which will be leading us to an early 3-0 lead.
They tried to force in that round just then, just to sort of break FABRIKEN's economy, surprise them maybe, but it ended up sort of blowing up in their faces. And FABRIKEN's attacks are fairly coordinated, to say the least. Certainly one of the longest running teams currently, as a lot of them are being broken apart at the moment. They just need a couple more gold trophies under their belt to really settle themselves as one of the better teams in Europe. I feel not a lot necessarily respect them, so this is like a nice opportunity to get some of that. They're clearing Hookah, I keep calling it U-Hole. That's on the other side of the map. They're scouting this out, and they're not afraid of this push either. They know that it's going to be an eco from RATVI, and I feel that they're just going to really put a lot of pressure on them.
But they do know there is one Stinger in the mix somewhere. They maybe are assuming it's not over here. What they do know was the Cypher player that actually was saving it. So if they push directly into him, that may be problematic. They don't realize that it's now into the hands of Anton. 3 players from RATVI hold up very tightly together in the actual U-Hauls over towards A. FABRIKEN right now look like they want to move over to long instead. Summer will be the
there.
only one there to receive, and they'll need to try and get a kill and dismiss away, but he's not even going to be able to land a proper shot here. Just a little bit of entry damage onto Latex, and now the site should be theirs for the taking. One defender here, and no real weapons to speak of. Where is that one stinger? It's still coming from spawn. Thane's at least going to take up Meadow from the B ramp section. And do you really go for this? Do you want to just maybe take the gun and walk away if you're Thane, the Jet player right now? Allow Anton to maybe try and get something done, and he's just going to bite the dust early. Bulldog in the hands of Thane, no armor, decent amount of util still available here. And unfortunately, no real opportunity. He will still find contact against Japan. Around this corner, and will fail that duel. Test failed, Japan wins, and FABRIKEN will confirm another round.
And that's important too, because Zipan was holding on to the Stinger there, so he's just going to upgrade to a Bulldog pretty much for free. You can see the economy. Right now, FABRIKEN not needed to dedicate to big guns really all that much just yet, but they have the economy in case they lose this one. Bayan picking up the operator can even get full armor. It's a big dedication, but that's the role that he likes to play on this team. Of course, the operator Jet is the brilliant combination that you can run to be a lot more aggro. I think FABRIKEN will be aware of that, and they're just playing this. Should play this relatively straightforward, considering they don't have gun advantage, but they do have an orbital strike, so this should mean a solid execute going on to B.
Thane's the one I'm looking at again because he'll be trying to do something with his operator. He's on the wrong side of the map for that currently. He's posted up over towards Showers, but there is nobody in there in terms of the pushing power for FABRIKEN. They're working their way into B. You should be really being able to hear and see all the utilities being spent. Anton will respond, and that is going to be the orbital strike you mentioned. I can't help but do not get Summer, who is still posted up. He is in a perfect position to receive this push, and he'll get that first kill instantly. It confirms the spike being dropped as well, and the rest of RATVI will now attempt to make this rotation coming through from the defender. Spawn, FABRIKEN are kind of falling apart on this attack, ever so slightly here on low HP for Shadowlols. He gets himself one pick. They have no elbow control here at all, and Supma has completely held down the fort. Japan probably go down here as well. I don't really see many ways he'll be able to get out of this one alive, as he'll maybe just attempt to get something done on the showstopper, but a 1v3, Ryan, I don't think it's going to happen.
He's trying to work his way around it. Even if he just grabs the spike and heads towards A, that's an option, but he's not quite sure at the angles, and time isn't really on his side. Bayan's going to find the right angle onto Zipan, and yeah, FABRIKEN really struggled to get onto that site. They all seem to push through Hookah, and it was really well played for RATVI to hold them off and wait for the rotation to come in from the rest of the team. As soon as the majority of RATVI's lineup were there on B, it seemed pretty much hopeless for FABRIKEN to try and get in, so nice opening for RATVI to get onto the board. But like I mentioned before, FABRIKEN's economy is still pretty healthy, and they could buy the Phantoms and the Operators now. Shadowlol, the main play for this lineup on the Breach, which is bizarre, but it seems to work. Now have a chance to still take the lead and keep it.
I'll tell you what, he'll be able to flash for himself if he wants to entry anyway in terms of playing the operator duel versus Bayan here. Most important member of the last round, MVP for me, was definitely Supma. He was safe from the orbital strike, and FABRIKEN thought they had cleared elbow. They ended up being false, and they lose because of it. Spike being held mostly towards the A side, which means I do believe they're trying to fake B, and then they'll be ending over towards A. That's assuming they don't just find a fast pick here somewhere.
Really liking these off angles from RATVI. Supma's played here a couple of times, and it seems to work out really well. There's a lot of pressure in, but this is good work from FABRIKEN. They're trying to bait the rotation, and they've brought the majority of members on RATVI onto this defense, but they're still unsure where the position it is, but it's actually going to be Latex going down this first blood. Bayan's holding on with this operator, and something I'm really excited to see more of.
Patience rewarded here. He was holding that angle since the start of the round. In fact, he's been holding that angle for 2 rounds in a row nearly. Last round as well, he started them. No one peeked him this time. He held it, found the spike carrier. That's an important member to get down. Latex is out of here. Very low HP as well for Japan, who would like to have a heal, but again, no Sage on this team. No wall executes.
They found my wire.
Going to be making their way over towards B. So A is cancelled, and that's going to be an early death from a couple of kills. 3 now. Pitrin? I don't even know. I can't get this name. I need to see it. I need to have it on my screen here, Ryan. But he's going to pick up a nice triple here and secure another round for RATVI. And 5 ultimates as well, by the way. That's going to be looking pretty strong for their team moving into that number 6 round.
I'm just going to call him Pi. I think that's probably the nearest thing. Everything else sort of falls apart. But
Pi 134.
Pi 134, Pi Leap. He's actually one of the more consistent fraggers on this lineup. You'd assume it would be the two duelists, right? Faye or Sutma going consistently the highest on frags, but actually no, it is the Cypher. So it's a typically defensive character because he is a Sentinel after all. That's the archetype, but as we're seeing, it seems to work out really well aggressively, and I think FABRIKEN are kind of at a loss. They're going up against 5 ultimates now from the defending team. If they lose this run, they go even on score.
Well, someone would have liked to have had a kill there to get a heal or something. They even had an early position for Thayan, who no one pushed into him over towards long. He left just as FABRIKEN started to move it in, and someone would love to be able to survive against the paint shells. 2 early kills. Major pushing up from FABRIKEN, and 3 ultimates available for RATVI, but they're not going to have a chance to use this. They might want to just wall up and get at least 1 resurrection here, play a 4v5 situation. I'm looking at what Shadow Lols is going to do in this particular round, though. He is holding on to probably the most important ultimate for his team in terms of the Rolling Thunder. Coming into place, and this is now going so well for FABRIKEN, and just the 1 player alive, high in the sky here. I don't think he's going to go for it. He's actually going to go for this ride. He's tagged somebody, but it's 1v4, mate. It surely can't make it happen.
You know, it's going to be a long game, and I'd say that both these teams don't really have the perfect form when it comes to Bind. Then again, Bind is the most popular map that EU teams seem to play, at least, so it's understandable. RATVI, I think, losing every game that they played in this tournament on Bind, other than the win against Wave that went to 13-12, right? So their form isn't great. But that was all down to Zipan. As soon as Zipan gets the first blood kill, it seems to really open up for FABRIKEN. So it's really making sure that they avoid that Raze player as much as possible. He has another showstopper ready to go. We really need to see more from the Jet and the Rainer on RATVI's side to really stem the flow. The operator play was excellent a couple of rounds ago. And you saw as soon as FABRIKEN start to lose a couple of their members, that attack just shuts down. So together, making sure that they get those frags early and still avoid being traded is going to be important for RATVI. It's something they're going to try and do now.
Looks like we're going to be pushing out over the ramp straight away. The lair comes through, and that's going to be a successful Sutman there, who instantly dismisses way heals back to full. Definitely seen those plays not work out in the past. We throw out the lair and you try to push it too early. Thayan as well. Don't want to lose that 1v1 versus Shadow Lows over towards the Fountain side. No help, though, unfortunately for him. No one playing tandem. And I wonder now what these 2 members are going to be doing, still anchoring over towards B. 4 members approaching them soon. The Aldrone surely will at least spot 1, but where is Summer? That's the most important player right now. His Empress even expired, so unfortunately, that's not going to help them that much more in terms of this particular defense. Rolling Thunder now. Play out all the angles over towards the Octagon and the Archers. They need to kill Summer. They finally do. This has not been the cleanest tank over towards B, but they're going to have the numbers advantage regardless. 3 versus 1 now. Anton with the orbital strike. I do not believe he'll use this. Probably just wants to get out alive right now. Money situation is looking okay for RATVI. I don't know if they really want to go for a situation where, to be fair, if he loses here, it will suck, but 1v1 situation,
Smoke's down.
something actually looking okay. Something looking like maybe he'll get this one done. He just needs to find the last player. Text when he's hiding. Shadow Lols. My bad. Shadow Lols was actually the last player. Just managed to get the peak in time there. So, I didn't think Anton was going to go for that one, but he manages to get 2. Couldn't get the last one, though.
It was worth a shot, but super impressed with how Shadow Lols played that. Bear in mind that FABRIKEN were 4 versus 5 at the start of that engagement. But Shadow Lols played a really patient operator. It didn't go crazy with like a triple kill or whatever, but just managed to punish RATVI that tried to be a bit more aggressive. Take B long if they're being pushed on hookah to try and pincer maybe the attackers, but Shadow Lols played that patiently, played it very passively, and then held on for the clutch when it was a 1v1. So wasn't the flashiest, but necessary for FABRIKEN want to win this game and also the tournament. Need performances like that. Cool, calm, collected.
Picked up another 2 rounds in a row here. They won the first 3, dropped a couple, and now they picked up 2 more to make it 5 overall. Shadow Lols this time also isn't pushing over towards B long. Last time he wanted to challenge the operator user of Thayan himself, who is now not using the op, I believe, in this particular round. It's actually going to be Pi, who's working his way. He's worked his way into heaven, actually, so he's watching towards short. He may be rewarded with a couple of kills here. You do see that FABRIKEN are moving towards A.
Rush is coming in with a showstopper. Anton doesn't have the orbital strike at all. Used it before. It would have been great to have now to stop this push coming in, but bear in mind that FABRIKEN are doing a typical default execute onto A. They have no stage wall, which typically is part of that, but it doesn't matter. Zipan yet again getting first blood, and you would assume from here able to get the round if he keeps fragging out like this.
Well, he's managed to get at least a couple now to make things very competitive for FABRIKEN, and once more it's going to be Shadowlow's taking down Thayan. It might not be an operator 1v1, but it's the kind of 1v1 that he's able to win close range, long range, you name it, and Pi will be the last one alive once again. This guy's been for at least a couple rounds now. We've definitely seen him as the last surviving or be hunted for sure, and the fact that he even kills Latex is pretty impressive. I wonder if anybody else can push him yet. It's that opening shot, and the pistol duel goes the way of ShadowLols, who at this point in time does seem like the highest impact player, at least, of FABRIKEN in terms of ending these rounds. You say that Zapan's been the highest impact for opening these rounds in terms of kills, but ShadowLols is the one that finishes it.
The perfect beginning and close. It's like a Pink Floyd song. Just everything about it seems to rise to the occasion, and it's nice to see FABRIKEN doing that. They are a team that I've criticized as being inconsistent, but not qualifying for tournaments that they should, losing to teams that they shouldn't. RATVI could be a thorn in their side if they're not careful. It's a team we don't have a lot of reel on. But so far, they seem to be leading the line, and the dominant performance here would be great confidence going into the final if they can manage it. But we're not done yet. I think RATVI have a lot more to show, most certainly when they get onto attack.
RATVI are going to be forcing into the Stingers and Marshall here. Stan's back on the sniper. He's working towards B long. No one's peeking him, unfortunately. Maybe for the best, because while he's, again, in a position where he needs to be shooting people who, you know, basically either as a headshot or he needs them to already be low. He's just not really going to be able to win many of these opening duels unless he's deadly accurate. And we've seen how many duels ShadowLols has been able to take against him, specifically in that particular 1v1. Major setup here. 5 times for FABRIKEN over towards A. Anton will spot that ShadowLols is sniping in his direction, and we'll see if this is going to be the actual push for FABRIKEN and if RATVI can reinforce the time. Zipan again, look at that.
Another one bites the dust. Zipan has just been so good here, and his team aren't really backing him up. He's just able to do these solo plays. The operators come through the teleport, but Meadow is going to keep a pin on Thayan. They can't do too much as the second drops for Zipan. He's going to make his way onto the site. Brim is there. Anton is on site. The last one there to try and protect this plant going in. Or stop it at least. Whilst the Reyna is coming in behind, or at least was.
Tell you what, Ryan, Thayan wishes to get an operator. I don't know if he'd win that duel regardless. I'm not too sure if he even managed to hit the shot over towards Meadow, who cleans him up over onto the teleporter side on Showers. And this particular half is getting out of hand now, 7-2. We've basically now at this point confirmed that FABRIKEN have won this half. You can't beat the score of 7 at this point. RATVI will be looking for 5 if they can even get that far there. Really investing heavily into this round, and they were able to, you know, force up, still have a decent amount of money to buy into this, but after this, they may be forced to eco again. 3 members do not look very healthy in terms of cash. Major walk up here over towards A short. 2 members, you can start to see that. Zap. Thayan. Gonna be moving up. Thayan's gonna be in trouble. He may just have to get out of here.
May have to get out. That's a perfect thing. No, when it comes to Jet, you have all of those abilities and utility. No real damage done for RATVI, but FABRIKEN are down the Cypher Meadow without the Neural Theft too, which could be a big ultimate now that they're on the back foot. And typically, whoever gets first blood tends to win the round, but Shadow has made sure that the numbers on teams were even, but now he gets a second. Needed to come in necessarily like that, and Zipan's going to answer the showstopper.
And there's no more kills to be had here. ShadowLols has got them all. Anton's gone as well. The last 2 guys are coming over from B, and they are so late for this particular defense. Will be contact over here as well. Leo Dents loses that duel, opens up for the Neural Theft, and will Pi make the swing over towards Showers. He knows where everybody is now, but RATVI, I don't think they really have a choice. How many more rounds can they give up here? There's only 2 of them, but 2 versus 3 is absolutely doable. They're going to do something here. They can even just force that ultimate. That will be lovely for them, but between Latex and Japan, they'll be able to clean up the last 2 and also save both the Orbital Strike and Rolling Thunder in the hands of FABRIKEN to still use them for the last 2 rounds.
ShadowLols coming into the rescue there. Typically was the one to reluctantly, I feel, move over to play the Sage in their lineup. They had Nicola on their roster, who was their permanent Sage player, but they've moved on. Actually, we're playing with Matty Stack in this tournament, so it's nice to see that he's found a new home and has been doing pretty well there. But it does mean that FABRIKEN don't really have a Sage player, so instead of forcing somebody to play onto that, shoo him in on that role, they just go without it. And right now, you can't even notice it. They're down a res and a heal and a wall and stuff, sure, but really, they look unfazed and they're dominant here.
Bomb buddy out.
The hunt begins.
The Empress is back now. Oh my goodness, though. That's the worst thing about the Empress sometimes. Someone's just dying straight away. You want to see him at least get 1 kill. It's very aggressive how he was playing that situation. No lair being used as far as I can tell in that situation. A couple of lurks over towards A. Possible contact here that you can maybe see for our Cypher player of Meadow, but otherwise it's all action on towards B. The 2 defenders there trying to hold on. I don't think the equipment value is very high for RATVI this time around. I think they might have forced into some SMGs. Certainly, Thayan's forced himself onto a Guardian, and at this kind of close range, I mean, he would have to hit an instant headshot to get the value, and he'll be the one now receiving all the pressure as FABRIKEN have moved all the way over to A, and unfortunately for RATVI, they've moved most of their defense to B.
We really haven't seen any players from RATVI have pop-off clutch moments like we have with Zipan on a regular basis. Thayan has been relatively quiet and wants to try and survive his position, and he's going to get given up, but he's only 11 health. Zafi is there to try and help out the teammate as much as possible. The spike has been planted yet again, and these retakes have been pretty woeful. They haven't been able to get much done.
They're not going to get anything done here. It's flawless, Ryan. It's everybody still alive and everybody dead for RATVI. They were unfortunately bamboozled in terms of what was happening over towards B. Sure, it was a lot of pressure they moved there. The last few defenders rather, over towards that side. And for Thayan, he barely gets to shoot 1 bullet from the chamber for the Guardian that he had in his hand. Revealed almost instantly by the recon bolt as well. And he was just in for a world of hurt. This will be the last round now for both of these teams on this particular half. And it's 6 rounds in a row, by the way, for FABRIKEN, who have mostly max cash on almost everyone here. Certainly ShadowLols, who's been picking up a ton of kills. He's having a competition between him and Japan to see who can get more.
Kept them composure in these six rounds in a row that they've won too. The 2 that they lost, FABRIKEN looked completely lost. They weren't sure how to attack, but really now they haven't broken a sweat. They are going to push through here, and the Ultra Strike's going to give them a bit of space to clear on. Zipan's going to make more aggressive plays. Gets first blood and gets a second. This guy is near on unstoppable on the best of days.
He's going to pick up 2 more, you like to imagine, as well. We'll get the 1 for 3 total here. Someone will at least be able to upgrade now onto the Phantom, and he needs to be a bit of a hero, because if you're going to be playing the Reyna, I'm really looking to see some sort of magic being formed. ShadowLols is just hunting, shutting people down. Thayan can't even walk into showers. Instant contact versus Leodeads and loses that duel. I think, unfortunately, for Thayan, he's lost the majority of the 1v1 situations he's been in so far. Certainly versus ShadowLols, who almost has I believe, a 100% success rate in a 1v1 versus Thayan. Now moving over to the attacking side. Ryan, you mentioned that RATVI maybe will have a bit more success here.
You would assume so with the composition that they had. Looking through the games from yesterday, though, they tended to win more defensive rounds than they did on attack. I looked at it and I was like, so maybe not. Like, it might be a very short attack on their side, but considering their lineup, they should be able to do a few more aggressive plays and maybe catch up for FABRIKEN quite quickly. Zafi is also one that tends to get quite a lot of kills and has a lot of an impact in that department. A very quiet game for him, too.
Japan spotted almost instantly. He'll get flashed by his teammates here. They made a gambit to rush up towards B long, and nobody's there. In fact, everybody is over towards A. I think you have to expect that most attackers will go towards A or B. Wall set up, in fact, good wall set up in terms of they don't even need to lock themselves out of showers. They have showers control. They just need U-Haul control now, and they will have most of A locked down. And that is including an opening kill into FABRIKEN, who are only working with 4 now. As they're slowly coming in for this retake, and RATVI, this may be their best round yet, right? This is certainly looking that way. 1 player advantage, spike's already been planted, major stack moving toward the U-Haul now, and it's all sorts of action. It's a major brawl in there. Who's going to come out on top with this one? Because it's fairly even numbers, 2 versus 3 still. Dangerous amount of health, unfortunately for Meadow. He needs to be very careful about the situation. They'll get taken down. ShadowLols the last one to fall there. It will be now RATVI with 3 members surviving, 2 on critical HP, and a pistol going their way.
Really good hold off the
There.
retake from RATVI. They anchored themselves really nicely off the sites. Had one on mid, a couple within showers. Really made it difficult to retake the site, especially with the plan that FABRIKEN had. They tended to stick together as a 4, flushed out aggressively onto U-Hole, and did get a couple of frags, but with everybody else spread apart for RATVI, as they're holding off the defuse, they just made it difficult to take out all of them and get the defuse in time. So, great way to hold it off and force FABRIKEN to play a bit more aggressively. And a great way for RATVI to come back into the game, but it's going to be a long climb, as they still need to get 7 more rounds to even make it even.
Well, you gotta sometimes just put the first Python in and get yourselves up that mountain. Working our way up maybe towards short. There will be very close contact angles here. The first one will actually happen all the way over towards the octagon where I will take down Zapan. So that's one of the key players down for FABRIKEN very early. Zapan had a shorty and unfortunately isn't even going to be able to fire off a shot. Look at the HP here for Fire who's still on. Well, actually, he did actually take a shot, never mind. But in either case, he'll be healed back up now because there is a Sage on their team, and he'll be good for 2 in this particular round. And FABRIKEN, I think this eco is not going to go their way at all.
Plan hasn't come in just yet. They're really... RATVI have been clever about this. They're not wasting utility. They're not throwing out all the smokes. Anton still has one left. They didn't put up the Sage wall. Just a few examples on how they're being very stingy, I suppose, on their utility. Because they know they're going into an eco. They have a lot more freedom than expected. Right now, FABRIKEN are on the site, but they're trying to sort of play a bit cheesy with the shorties. And RATVI aren't buying it. They're playing super passive and keeping their distance away from U-Hole.
See if that maintains to be true here, because Zappy looks like he wants to be able to push in. He'll be punished by Leodid. That's going to be a gun picked up now, but there's no time to defuse here. They're trying to make long-range shield happen across the room, and somehow Latex even finds a beautiful headshot onto Subma. Is there going to be a situation here where moving over towards B, possibility of one more contact kill, might just see the back of another player, and Pi will take down his 3rd kill of this round on the Ghost alone. And sure, look, he was up against an eco team anyway. I think that was a good round overall from RATVI. Maybe losing Zappy towards the end there, not ideal. He kind of just lost his patience. He was holding U-Hole the entire time, and for whatever reason, right at the end, decides he wants to push in.
And it does mean that Anton is forced to pick up a Stinger. There should be enough money to buy him, so might decide against it. But yeah, a bit of economy damage. FABRIKEN not going to be too worried. They have the round advantage and are able to buy fully. Latex just dropping a 1 smoke to stem an attack on A, but in fact it's going to be B that's hit consistently. There's a nice split between Hookah, but I think that Aldron spots it. Yeah, he must have done, but nobody's rotated yet. They're still buying their time and making sure they don't leave on A unguarded.
That Molotov is actually pretty massive coming through from RATVI, but I think both sides will just walk away fairly comfortable. 1 loss per end. Shadow Lols is maybe the only thing that you really wouldn't want to see FABRIKEN lose in this particular stage. They gambled pretty hard in terms of 3 men is holding close, very close over towards Archers. As Latex is going to swing around to maybe just pick up 1 more to even things up. 3 versus 3 still. And a couple of hand-me-down guns available for RATVI. They opened this up, by the way, with 2 Vandals and an Operator. You can see on the floor now a lot of these weapons where I think Anton would really like this particular upgrade. There you go, mate. He's walking into this one now thinking 3 versus 2 potential over to B, as Leodeds are still hanging out on A.
It takes taking this super passively. No smokes to help him out. So it's pretty much a do or die kind of hold here. As soon as it gets spots out, it's probably going to get refragged. Gets the first. Nobody's really looking at it. Gets 2. Anton is able to trade. But he's the last one alive going up against Zipan, who is sort of behind him. The punt is going to come in. But FABRIKEN looking comfortable to try and take this retake and spot out exactly where Anton is holding.
Well, it's going to be a double entry as well. 1 from deep in, a side 1 from elbow. Anton's taking a chunk of damage, and Leodeds connects the body shots required. You see where Anton, by the way, used his smokes. He decided to smoke Hookah entry and also defensive entry. And unfortunately, no one was playing there. Obviously, he doesn't know that, but they had no Hookah control. They just walked up towards long, 3 stack over towards long. You have to assume somebody's playing to elbow, and obviously they weren't sure about anyone playing to cubby. No one was looking in that direction. The Latex swings for 2 massive kills, gets the timing kill to Zappy as well, who was trying to put up a wall. So, really, really good timing coming through from FABRIKEN to pick up number 11, and we're starting to get to the dangerous zone now. 2 away from winning.
money's not terrible for RATVI, but they don't seem to have much else to work with. Aren't too far from having an Empress or a Blade Storm for the duelists.
Revealing area.
The ultimates will be coming online, but it might be too little too late if they're not careful. FABRIKEN is scouting out towards Showers, even going to pick up the orb, so Leodeds now has this Hunter's Fury available. But look at this, completely open. The execute's going to happen on A, but they've left the spike, so this buys a little bit of time for FABRIKEN to rotate.
Oh.
Or maybe RATVI to bait it completely. Go for the teleporters and go.
Yeah, this has been a pretty huge mistake. They could TP here, so if we're talking about bait here, Ryan, they could just TP as a team. I think you do that now. As soon as the orbital strike comes on through, you just give this point up. The problem is their spike carry is still not with the team. This is a problem. They've just not had their spike carry with them, but it's a double fake. I think he's maybe purposely stayed here so he can still plant on A. He's taking his time, though. He's still thinking about this one. Seems like that RATVI just want to do a lot of fakes here.
They've spotted it straight away, though. They got the kill onto Supermar and are all the way back. Leodeds is even going to scout it out. I don't think it gets any damage in there, too, but it's just trying to use a very expensive recon bolt that doesn't find much at all. The plan is going to come in right now. Zipan killing onto Anton means that FABRIKEN, even with all that, still have an advantage.
On target.
Well, they're losing a lot of members now for RATVI, so FABRIKEN's advantage is certainly getting more and more advantageous as these kills come on through, and eventually the last one falls. We'll now start to look at the situation like, man, it was quite a bit of a game of ring around the rosy there, but unfortunately for RATVI, they never held control of the site. Like, sure, if you were in a position where you teleport your whole team over to B, I think at that stage, whoever you still have over towards A, I don't know, I feel like you need to have some level of control there. They come back and it's just two neutral situations. You go to B, it's a neutral situation. You come back to A, it's another neutral situation. Yes, you'll have the plant down. You still do not have control over the site.
The idea was good. The execution, not so. And I think just that's what you sort of expect from RATVI, a relatively new team when it comes to like the tier 1 of EU, if you can really call it that. Relatively new names, but still shown a lot of promise to get here. The Bladestorm is going to be used on the attack aggressively. Zupa's going to be hit quite hard. You saw all of the shots come out, and Zipan still wins that fight.
Oh, he's done enough. Zipan's got multiple kills here. The showstopper towards the end there, very deadly as well. The one resurrection might make this look competitive for RATVI. This is a must-win situation. Again, match point, or rather map point, for FABRIKEN right now on 12 total rounds. They haven't quite got the plant here. In fact, they've lost the spike carry. It's now down to just Pi, the guy that's been staying alive for quite a while. The defense was always the last one alive. But Shadow Lord, as we mentioned on that particular offensive side for FABRIKEN, he was the one that will shut the door on this particular round, and for now, the entire match.